Well, that has brought us back down to earth, hasn't it? Premier League form is completely different to our Europa League form. Ange Postecoglou rung the changes, 8 changes in total, and you could see this Tottenham B team just hasn't got what it takes to really, do well in games. So I'm not surprised at the result. I'm not actually that fussed because, as we all know, you're a Spurs fan watching this, we've got bigger fish to fry. Palace might have bigger fish to fry in the FA Cup, but it's not as big. This is so much bigger for Tottenham Hotspur, this Europa League final. So I'm really not too fussed, although there are a few things that happened that have worried me, but we'll get on to that in due course. But before we go any further, if you are new to the Sonny Talk Spurs YouTube channel, then drop us a like, subscribe and hit the notification bell because it'll let you know when I've gone live. We're on the road to 10,000 subs by the end of 2025. So please drop me a sub. I would be eternally grateful. Also, leave your comments in the comment section down below. What did you make of the game? Are you worried after these results in the Premier League? And are you worried about Dejan Kulusevski? That's all I'm going to say before I get onto it in a bit. But Palace deserved the win. They were absolutely dominant. I thought this was going to happen. I knew Ange Postecoglou was going to bring the changes in, rotate heavily, and Palace went really. I was actually surprised with how strong they've gone because that FA Cup. Next Saturday, we play on Friday against Aston Villa. They play on Saturday in the FA Cup final. They're, second FA Cup final in about 10 or so years against Manchester City. But Manchester City have come off a poor result against Southampton. But if we look at the stats from the game, as I'll do this all the time. I never prepare. They were very much in Palace's favour. Palace had 23 shots, 10 on target and 53% possession. Spurs had 8 shots, 1 on target, 47% possession. It was an absolute domination, especially in that first half. Bombarding us. They had 2 disallowed goals, 1 for the most narrow of offsides I've ever seen, and also for a handball. But you can't take it away. You can't take it away from them how good they were. They've got some unbelievable players. This is also without Adam Wharton, by the way, but Daniel Munoz. If there's a team who wants a fullback in a back three, I'm thinking Manchester United, who we play in that Europa League final. They should be signing him up. He is phenomenal. Eberechi Eze, a player that Tottenham fans will know well from watching in the Premier League and being linked with us. He's been in incredible form in the last couple of months. Sort of shows I wish we had that sort of creative impetus from midfield. But, it was just never in doubt for Palace, was it? We did not trouble them whatsoever. A front three of, Tell, a rusty Kulusevski and Odebear, who, they just weren't really linking up well. Dominic Solanke, when he's in that forward line, sort of makes it tick. Brennan Johnson's always, willing to get in there for a goal. Good to see Son come back, though. I think he's going to be of vital importance after what happened in this game in regard to a key Tottenham player. But, as I say, this doesn't really matter. Tottenham fans have wanted this. You can tell by the atmosphere in the stadium. You can tell by, it was like bloody pre-season game, wasn't it? No one's really fussed, are they? We did all our hard work on Thursday. Ange even admitted he was going to rotate heavy because of what happened in the Tamworth game on a 4G pitch. It was it was testing on those players, running on that surface. It was wet, bad on the body. I think only Bentancur, Pedro Porro, there was only a couple of players who were there, but I think Ange wants to tick some of them over. But right to rest Romero, right to rest Mickey van der Ven and Udogie and even Vicario. I think that made sense to get him out of the limelight as well. So pretty happy with that. And this result doesn't worry me. I've saw some people saying momentum, and Palace have got, as I say, Palace have got the FA Cup final, so they'll want to keep their momentum. We've seen that we don't need that because of how the first team, I called them the Avengers the other day, they can assemble whenever we need them, whether it's Bodo Glimt or Frankfurt, AZ Alkmaar, and they turn it on. So I'm really, really not worried about that. What I am worried about is, we've had a couple of injuries. Well, we've had loads of injuries this season, but recent injuries to Lucas Bergwijn in midfield, which wasn't great. We then have the injury to James Maddison. And Dejan Kulusevski came back from his previous injury and has looked rusty. But in this game, he absolutely got clattered. I can't remember who by, but I'm now really worried we have not got that creative element in that midfield that can really help us in that final. I can see it now, like Ange's going to go with a 6 with Bentancur and probably 2 8s, which will probably be Basuma and Sarr. But, I mean, that doesn't fill me with much joy, especially because Sarr's been so poor. Basuma today, I don't know what's happening with him. He's either unbelievable in the Europa League or just so disappointing in the Premier League. Came on and was just like a headless chicken. Unless we play Archie Gray in the 6 and maybe Bentancur in an 8. I don't know. Mate, that does worry me, that overall decision. But you're going to have to let me know in the comments down below. Do you think that is a serious injury for Kulusevski? How do you line up that midfield in the final? Because it's just it's annoying, isn't it? It's just so frustrating. Like, you forget the result, you forget today, whatever, but that's worse than the result. That injury could be a lot worse than the result. But hopefully, as I say, it's not too serious. But I'm hearing, I mean, United lost to West Ham today. Apparently, there's a few injuries there to Lenny Euro. So, I mean, that's such awful point scoring. But it's sort of, we need these small wins. Because that final in Bilbao is so monumental this season. There was a few boos at the end. We now sit 17th. Which is very funny considering that many people are like, I'll take 17th in the trophy. And we are literally in that position now. Just above the likes of Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton. So, yeah, I'm just a bit... I'm so disappointed that it's come to this. But we've just got to keep moving on. We've got obviously Villa on Friday, which again, I mean, Villa have got a lot to play for. They want to get Champions League football, at least, solid. I think they're qualified for Europe, but they can get Champions League, Europa League. I think they're guaranteed conference. But, yeah, I guess there'll be a big argument today with, and this is why my head's always in a spin about Ange in, Ange out, and people will know my opinions on that. But today is another sign of even, I know it's 8 changes, but is this good enough? Was the display good enough? But I feel like we've got to take this, I think it's been evident that the players don't care for the league. It's just a momentum, like they're just going through the motions. We could see by the reaction at the end of the Bodo Glimt game with the fans and, Ange Postecoglou's speech in the dressing room. They're still, they're all in it together in that, and that is all that matters. This in the Premier League, they could not give a flying chicken about. They just don't care. They literally do not care. So, and that is what it is. So we just got to keep going, got to keep moving on, ticking over, get the fixtures out of the way. I think we've got obviously Villa, and then I can't even remember where we are final day. Brighton, maybe? Possibly. So Villa away and Brighton at home, I think it is. Let me know if I'm wrong. But then the big one is before that. Because, there's the whole thing around, with the final, they're not going to be putting the screens on the pitch. So you can go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and watch the final. But how they did the Champions League final, they had screens all on the pitch. Can't do that this time because we have Brighton. And we're usually away from home, so on final day of the season. But it's flipped this year. But who cares? These two, Villa and Brighton, does not matter. Give them the wins because Villa and Brighton both need it for European football. Whereas it's just about Bilbao, baby. It's just about Bilbao. And I'm confident enough because United today was quite a strong team against West Ham. We drew with West Ham. Man United at home. I feel like, it's only Bruno Fernandes I'm really worried about in that team. I feel like the rest of it we can get at. But yeah, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below. Are you worried? Are you nervous? Especially about that Kulusevski injury. Get my words out. But as always, if you have enjoyed, leave your like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, road to 10k, baby, and road to Bilbao. But until next time, have a good rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys soon. Ciao.